So we had to wait an extra week for this episode of Hell's Paradise, but damn was the wait worth it. This was straight out of Jojo for a moment. I'm a sucker for when any character punches really fast to the point of basically the opponent wishing they never got up in the morning. And in this case, when we're going up against essentially gods who can regenerate and they're not getting up that fast and they're kind of like flat as a pancake on the ground, yeah, that aura 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 energy, it felt straight out of Jojo. I mean, Gabby Maru we know is a tank and a beast, but when he goes all in and actually feels like there might be a shot at maybe fully defeating these creatures, yes, maybe he would have died had our girl May not come in and kind of put a nice little magical sphere so they could roll down the hill to safety. But it doesn't change the fact that, like, he proves something, that there is potentially a way to damage them enough that they can't repair themselves unless they seemingly drink that elixir, and that gives us hope in this kind of hell-forsaken world. Now, full live reaction to this wonderful episode is available on my Patreon. If you do want to see my full uncut thoughts, you can head on over there and consider supporting. I've been excited to see what they're gonna do, especially given that they kind of left us off on a bit of a cliffhanger with Gabimaru. Starting to feel like maybe with the support of characters, he was gonna start maybe opening up a bit more and changing from his cold assassin-like ways, and we saw that he was still having visions of his father-in-law, the person who taught him to be a cold-hearted, murderous bastard. And we're seeing in this episode he's gun-ho to get the job done. He discovers a giant gate where we have one of the 7 hermits who basically is like, bro, can you just please leave? I don't want anything you're selling. I already had enough bullshit today. Let's just move on, which is a pretty humorous way to start off a fight, all things considered, and the fight goes in hard. There's some great hand-to-hand animation. I mean, it really did feel like 2 monsters going up against one another. And given the fact that we do get a conversation with the full council, all 7 of them basically saying that the new humans that are on this island are a lot different than the past couple centuries, and that they should be a little worried. And we're seeing just what Gabby Maru is capable of when he's kind of unhinged and almost unfiltered in a way, right? He pretty much he's using all the teachings that this man gave him. I mean, we literally see him pretty much do self-destruct at the end. Basically, one of his rules that he was taught that if you basically are about to die, make sure you take the opponent with you. And we see him burn that thing almost to smithereens. Obviously, wasn't enough, but it does show that there's some interesting things on the horizon. And I think what we see is most likely the elixir, especially given that they're seemingly using humans to make it from what we can understand. What's very interesting is that afterwards, when you have the one who we were fighting, right? Basically, one of the others just impales, the head regenerates, and it looks like you're 1,000 years old. Like, there's no proper aging there. It's almost like all the years of being alive, as whatever you want to call this thing is, that has caught up because you're not able to regenerate to a more beautiful form. And it's not until you drink the elixir that the form comes back to its full potential. So what I'm curious with is potentially, because my assumption was maybe they had a core somewhere inside, like if you broke them apart, maybe there'd be like a red crystal, and if you destroy the crystal, you destroy them. But what it seems to be doing is that they have an insane regeneration ability. Like, we see just how insane. You can snap arms off, you can snap their necks, they regenerate it like it's nothing. But after that aura 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 energy, it basically went into its like true form. It's almost like final defense mechanism, seemingly something that you shouldn't be doing. Like, if the humans are pushing you to use this legendary form, it means you messed up, and most likely these humans are a lot more capable than we're originally giving credit. So potentially, if you do enough damage, if they waste too much regeneration abilities, potentially if they don't have an elixir around, maybe there is actually a way to kill them. And based on how Gabimaru is saying, they don't seem like gods, they seem like monsters to him, and monsters can be killed. So we went from thinking, damn, how the hell are they gonna do this? Are we gonna be in a Resident Evil situation where we're running from Mr. X? Yeah, we can blast Mr. X in that game with a rocket launcher, but he's gonna get back up and he's gonna keep on chasing. That's kind of what it felt like up to this point, but now it feels like potentially, even if it's insanely hard to do, I mean, just one of them is enough to put Gabimaru almost in the grave, right? So the fact that if they all teamed up at some point, I mean, it pretty much would be game over, it feels. But it's nice to have that element of hope. It's very small. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel, but the tunnel is a goddamn country away. But it's still there. It still gives these characters a chance, and honestly, that's what they need if we're ever gonna have a shot at finding the elixir and getting off this hell-forsaken island. But it was nice because the animation really did go in hard. I love the fact that there's so many shots where just like they are going so in. you get a punch, you get a punch in. He gets a punch in, you get a punch in. And just the back and forth, the bloodiness, and that dream sequence was just like the chef's kiss to tie it all together. So the idea of what I've been complimenting between this husband and wife storyline, we really don't know a lot about her in the grand picture of this story, but every time his wife's either on screen, whether in dream, flashback, or maybe just thinking of something that could be occurring, the fact that this relationship, you just root for it so hard and you're like, yes, Gabimaru, I want you to have this life. I want you to wake up from your nightmares, say it was all but a dream, and just live a peaceful life. And that's what makes his story arc so compelling. He's fighting on one hand to change into who his wife wants him to be, and also what the characters around him are seemingly encouraging, at least a couple are. And also fighting years of brainwashing of being an emotionless killer. And that's a really compelling character arc in the middle of an insane action sequence. And that's the brilliance of Hell's Paradise. It blends insane action with great characterization with one fascinating world to create peak shonen, all things considered. Now, we do get some interesting information about the trees that we've been seeing, right? So in this episode, he's walking through what I thought was like a graveyard, and it turns out pretty much what it is, but I thought they were all gonna come alive and start attacking him. Instead, we see that our boy, who, talking tree, wondered what happened. Was he always a tree? Did a tree come to life, maybe drank the elixir, or the elixir fell on a tree? Who the hell knows, right? Turns out this village that had a very long time of peaceful reign, I guess you turn into a tree someday, and that's where you go to die. And for him to like bend over and like say, this is my daughter, she changed before my wife for me, like, it's very, very heartbreaking. Like, that has to be one tragic way to go, in my opinion. And the idea that this is like, you basically pray for eternity, there's like this ominous like om sound that you hear when you go over there. And the idea that the Tensen, basically, like, you need to show them respect. It's a messed up island. The way they blend beauty meets frightening atmosphere, I mean, flowers corrupting all over the body, it's beautiful on paper, but then you see the end result and it's just mummified corpses through it's insane. It absolutely is. It's a beautiful, violent spectacle that hooks you in every week. And for an episode that was driven by action, they still snuck in characterization, they still snuck in hints and foreshadowing, but most importantly, they explained a decent amount when it came to the elixir and the seemingly gods, while giving us a carrot on the stick moment. We're gonna be chasing that carrot for a hell of a long time, well past season 1, possibly well past season 2, but it doesn't change the fact that monsters can be killed, and that's all we needed to hear to give these characters that fool's hope that maybe, just maybe, they can win. And I'm always gonna laugh with our girl when she goes, why the hell would I follow you? Oh, you have a bathtub? Of course, let's follow the talking tree to a village. Or, why the hell would I go save Gabimaru? He's just a criminal. Oh wait, you can get us through the haunted forest? I always want to save Gabimaru. There's some good comedy in the middle of the chaos, and I'm loving this one. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Be sure to ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more Hell's Paradise on the channel. And of course, as I mentioned, full live reaction to this wonderful episode is available on my Patreon. And while you're there, you'll also get a video shoutout. So today we have Holy, Isaac Farnsworth, Alton Johnson, Alunnar, and Brice Delzangles. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.